Welcome. It's Morning Motivation with AthinaElaiya. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a blessing to have you on our channel, where it's our mission to share a piece of forever together. The look of the week is provided by Jessica's Body Boutique. Lipstick and lip gloss provided by High Maintenance. Welcome, it's Morning Motivation. I have an amazing guest on the show today, someone who is extremely dear to me, someone who is not just a friend, but also a brother and literally a family member to me. I've known him for years. One of the first people I met in New York who kind of saved me. And it's the 83rd. He is a record producer and an experimental artist. And here is this beautiful man right here. Look at his hair, y'all. It's crazy. Isn't this gorgeous? Isn't he gorgeous? Look at my family. Gorgeous. Just gorgeous.
Thank you.
So hello and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm super grateful for you being on the show. The first thing I want to start with, honestly, is how you have inspired me so much from day one, since the first day I met you. You're literally one of the hardest working people that I've ever known. And you showed me what entrepreneurship, am I saying that right? You showed me what that really looks like. Like, you literally showed me what that looks like. Like, you didn't talk about it. I mean, and people talk about like being a workaholic, but I think it's just a passion. And people would be like, "Oh, Zion's a workaholic," but I never thought that. I just was like, "No, he is in love with his work." And you just showed me what that looked like. And I kind of want to ask you what made you become this way? Like, how did you turn into this person who just works so hard? Like, you really just don't stop. And ever since I met you, you've been like this.
Yeah. First of all, that's dope. That's dope to be able to hear the influence in that way. I love you. Appreciate you. For me, it was if I don't do it, it's not done. And so that was something that I learned. Um, couldn't wait on nobody. Couldn't wait on a label. Couldn't wait on an artist. I became the artist. I became the label. I became the engineer. Taught myself 5 different instruments because nothing was going to stop me. Nothing will stop me. I know if I do my best and lay it out there, then I can rest. So,
But okay, I love that answer. I love that answer. But was there ever something that specifically set you on that path of like, this is what I love, this is what I'm doing, nothing's gonna stop me, this is what it is? What was there any one
I,
thing, or was it just an accumulation of life and just
it was
passion?
definitely it was definitely accumulation of life. I started on a Grammy team when I was 20. I was the youngest member on Maurice Joshua's production team. We got a Grammy for Crazy in Love, and I was exposed to a lot of dope musicians at a high level. I had a lot of things in front of me that should have worked out. Tracks with Eminem, also records for like Yelly, all this stuff. And what I learned is in that process, a lot of times things aren't going to work out the way that you necessarily see in your brain. But I refuse to stop just because the connection didn't happen. I'm like, it's all right there. So I just kept putting one foot in front of another. And when stuff would get taken away, I refused to let that deter my growth. So I think being in those environments and seeing it and being around it allowed me to be like, okay, all right, you're a grab away. And then there was times where I felt like I was a mile away, but I knew and I know the God in me, and I know what I hear, and I know what it makes me feel. So whether I was, in Warner Brothers room and buying, for a big deal, or I was by myself in the hood, I know what runs through my bones. And so having those experiences, but them not materializing, it developed calluses in me. It developed stripes. I got my stripes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and humility was a base factor. When I was in Chicago, I I was good. Even not being 21 years old, I can get into clubs. I was on the radio, and then when I moved back to New York, I was sent outside Hot 97 passing out CDs, getting kicked out by security, and bringing my ass right back in front and passing out again. And so it didn't matter whatever cloud I had in Chicago. I had to pick myself back up, sneak into studios and be like, here's my demo. And so it just created a hunger. I'm not doing this for nothing. I believe the things on my heart and mind are important. And so my motivation is to give into the world by any means necessary.
I love that. So I want to talk about the experimental artist. What made you use that title versus any other title that you could use in the world?
Oh, because everything's an instrument to me. Is an instrument. I'm genreless. I work. People see me. Are you a rapper? Absolutely. And it's, so you a rapper? And I do, and I sing and I dance and I play like, man, I'll make the wall clap. Like I don't care. I'll take the mic. Everything's an instrument, and so I'm outside of the genre lines. I love working with uh, whatever is available, and to me, like you always have what you need, and so some of my songs are 47 seconds, some of them are 7 minutes. Some I'm using synthesis and square waves, and some of them I'm using gospel choirs and archival recordings. Some things I'm playing jazz piano. Sometimes I'm doing like hardcore drums. So,
Yeah, it's crazy that you can like literally play 5, 6 different instruments and like just casually, just like like it's just like okay, it's like it's just so normal for you, but to other people, it's like, bro, you can pay like what? I think that's incredible that that's just so normal for you. That's I don't know. That's amazing. So the reason that you call yourself an experimental artist is because everything's an experiment to you? That's really why everything's an experiment, including life? Is that the way you look at life as well?
yeah, yeah. I was just writing to myself. I believe there's opportunity in everywhere around us and every day. That helps me sleep good. Thinking like, dang, tomorrow, let's get it. And being present, but also being hopeful. And I think I have that mentality with whatever situation I'm in. And it's not just music. My videos, the visualizer for the new record of Comic, I collaborated with this Brazilian artist and I did the edits for it. Or I might, use my phone or whatever around me to make a video. Like visually, I finish music, so that's where I can see music, color, and sound. And so, just art mediums in general, I see a lot of opportunity. So I'm always experimenting. I never lost the child curiosity. I don't try to get in a rhythm. I like to do stuff I don't know very well and to see where that exploration takes me. That's what has me doing it, almost 20 years later.
So, since you've been in the music industry professionally and as an independent artist for yourself and for other artists as well, what advice would you give younger people? Because there's so many people who look up to you there, and seriously, like there's so many people who look up to you and who you've helped. So what advice do you always give your artists that come onto your record label? What advice do you give even people that don't come onto your record label, but mostly the people that come onto your record label, because you literally are helping them grow. Like you give them long-term advice versus like, no, just do this because it's hot. Like, what's your advice for them usually? What's your top thing that you're like, listen, this is seriously important if you don't remember anything else?
Uh, I'm not sure top. I think maybe what comes to mind is that you're more than enough,
That's deep.
you know? And so I'm interested in where your story is right now and capturing that and helping give that platform. I don't want to ever force anybody to be, an ideal of somebody else, the next Beyonce or the next. No, Beyonce's Beyonce. You know, that's her. You know, she has her own birth certificate. What you have to say is just as valid. It's beautiful. There's only one you. So be you really, really well. Be the best version of yourself. And we're always learning and inspired by each other. Be around people who feed you and can bring you to your highest self. But when I've been in situations that are cancerous, situations that are toxic, and I'm out. And instead, I like to provide a safe space for people to be able to explore, tell their story, and be empowered. Um, I'm also technically an adjunct professor at NYU, and I told the kids there, you know, there are no rules. And at college, you're always told rules. This is how you do this. And so for me to be able to come in and be like, in the Clyde Davis music department, there are no rules. They would see something, hey, I think I wanna, I do it. In that liberation, being yourself, there are no rules, allows people to play instead of practice, instead of like not want to be in the studio. It makes you want to be there all day. It creates a whole different reason because you are the reason.
You are the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so important that you're empowering people as you're teaching them how to work. I think that that's so important. And just like showing them that you don't have to be like anybody else because you don't and you shouldn't. And I love that. I love that, especially in the music industry because it's easy to say it, outside of the music industry where there's not so many influences or there's not so many um, but there's not so many like headstones where it's like this work, this work, this work, and this is the way. Music to me always has this thing where it's like, I mean, there's so many things underneath of it all, right? Like the rhythms and the way that makes you feel and like stuff like that. So, me and you have always talked about this thing where I have like a really sensitive ear. And sometimes, when we were roommates, I used to like, when you were downstairs making these crazy beats, I used to be like, yo.
Yeah, now you would come down. You would know, like you heard Angel Hayes New York when I was first working on it. And I think you were on the way somewhere and you came down the stairs and he was like, hey, bro. And I'm like, huh? He's like, but what is that song? And I'm like, oh, this track I'm working on. He's like, no, 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 no. I remember. He was like, my ears buzzing. Like, that's different. And me, I'm just shedding and I'm like, oh, okay. But you heard something. And that ended up being her most well-known song.
Yeah. New York, hey, that song is so fire. Whew.
Yeah, your ear was buzzing.
Yeah, yeah. Like it was like sometimes my ears physically hurt if it's like that good. And especially if it's like hitting me in a spiritual way, it just hits deep. But while I'm talking about spirituality, I do want to ask you what's your personal process for your spirituality, for your mental health, and like keeping things in order? Because I know that that's something that me and you talk about often off camera. And it's something that we've talked about, I feel like, since I've known you is, how to balance that mental health part of our life. Because sometimes we tend to ignore it. So I just want to know how you balance that like spirit and work life. What's your process?
It's kind of experimental. There are times where, I'll go a couple of days working and I'm always walking with spirit. We are spirit, right? This is a space. So I'm always in tune because I lead in love. So it's, thing that I can feel cloaking around me. But there also are important times for me. I actually had one this morning to be intentional because there's a lot of spirits that come against you in our state and different forms of people who want to take your peace of mind. And so for me, a lot of times I write it out. I'm always in my phone writing. I got mad notes. I'm writing it out. And it's a prayer. I'm writing it as changing the energy in the room, it's changing the energy around me, knowing my head and knowing the space. That's real. Uh, and sometimes when I'm just by myself, because life can be so hectic, I'm just laying there in the silence. The space allows me to really see the space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so in those moments, too, myself speak to me out, me and God to be chatting. And yeah, just kind of allow myself to have that room to write, to listen, to be still, and to be active too. Sometimes that isn't just prayer warriors.
Yeah. I I know we didn't talk about this off camera or even discuss that we were going to bring this up, but I do kind of want to talk about, you've been on a super health kick for a long time now. And and I really want to bring it up because I think a lot of times people are like too cool for school and they don't want to eat healthy or anything. But like, I mean, I feel like it made such a major difference in your mental health and in your physical body and in your face and just like, and what I mean by your face is just like any problems that you had with like, I feel like there was a time where like, you would have like a sty here or there and, just like stuff like that. But like, I feel like ever since you've changed your diet, you have not complained about that at all. And like, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like your diet fixed a lot of problems that you didn't know how to really adjust. Yeah. So I just kind of want to talk about that because I feel like when people look at you, they might not assume that you're one of those health guys. But you really are. Like you're alkaline based, you're plant based. Like that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
No, that's one of the things where life will take you a space, right? And I continue to fight and I figure out what tools I have. I had a regular sad diet, like a standard American diet growing up, and then I ended up getting HS, which is skin disease. A lot of Black Americans have specifically too. A lot of people where we get big boils in our eyes, in our armpit, genitals, and our back. My brother has it. People in my family have it. And I was in surgeries. I was, getting lashed open. I was, getting all these creams and antibiotics. But once I saw there was a break, and we were living together on Tompkins, and I started eating more anti-inflammatory, and I noticed that the boils started going down. I was like, wait, what? And so I went from eating anti-inflammatory to eating less meat, up in my greens. And I'm feeling better. My skin is healing. Got to the point where, I basically let my body be the experiment, and I saw what didn't work. And then once I got plant-based, that's what's up, but then it moved to alkaline. And I noticed a difference with the alkalinity in my body. When I was alkaline plant-based foods, I had more energy. Absolutely, my body was flushing things out. My skin, everything was able to heal itself. And I learned about Dr. Sabi and the Afro biome diet. It's specifically for Black people. And my ancestors ate. And now I'm at a point where I don't even, but I supplement a lot. I eat a lot of herbs, a lot of supplements, and that's super important. If you're not going to eat meat. And to be really, really intentional with what you put in your body. Not just what you watch, what you see, but what you eat. Because you are that. And so, I just don't play with myself no more. I don't. It's not worth it. You feel me? And it doesn't even, and it's crazy because our bodies are computers. So it's like.
Our bodies are what?
Computers.
Computers, yes, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. We're the original computers, literally.
Literally, So I don't want fries. I don't want donuts. I don't want, that salad was busting though. So that's just where I'm at. And, I do want to encourage other just people in general, especially you in entertainment and you move around and you got a hectic schedule. And, be good to yourself. Drink a lot of water. Them greases is busted. Tell your homies. Eat foods with seeds. I'm telling you, it's lit.
It's life changing.
Absolutely.
And it's so crazy because it's like like once you get into it, it seems like I literally remember being younger, and this is the saddest part. I'm just being 100% about it because I literally remember being younger, Zion. I'm not kidding. Like when I was like maybe 20 and people around me sometimes would eat super healthy and I'd be like, what are you eating? And it was just like such a disgust of like eating healthy. And it was just like, why did I have that frame of mind? And it's just like that reframing of my mind when it comes to what I'm eating, that it just changed everything. It just changed everything for me. Cause like,
yeah,
your body's so important. Like, why are we not, I don't know. It's just weird. Like we don't need to be eating slops and leftovers and, stuff that you know, that like survival food stuff. Some of that stuff is survival food. We are not in survival mode anymore. It is not like that anymore. I mean, yes, in some instances we do have to like watch out, but when it comes to food, I feel like there's so much information out there that we know. It's like it's hard to ignore at this point, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing you said I think is important was like, why was I like that thinking that healthy food was whack? And if, I'm gonna tell you, I feel like a lot of this programming is literally the programming that changes the channel the frequency we're on. And when the program is saying, "Oh, it's lit to go to McDonald's, get this," you know, that's where the ad dollars
And
are
all the
going.
celebrities are on there like whoop whoop. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, but I love Cardi. Cardi's representing, I mean, Sweetie. I love Sweetie. You know, I don't like everything they say, but I like them and I like that they're representing like womanhood and stuff like that. So yeah, it's subconscious.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
see somebody see something, and you might look up to, and they're doing something that is damaging to you, but you
Yes.
look at them, so you trust them,
Yeah.
and so you know you follow suit, but at what cost? That's why
Mm.
I'm such a proponent of individuality and independent thinking. How do we best honor ourselves, our partners? Like, what's real? How do we really do that? How do we honor our children? I'm gonna love my kids. I'm gonna feed my kids alkaline foods. You know, you dig? If I know,
Yeah.
if I know how can I keep you healthy, how do I keep myself? I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna love myself, regardless of how other people think. I'm gonna put my people on and myself on. If there's a way that we can be better, put me on. I'm doing it.
Put me on.
That's the
Period.
coolest you can be. The best version of
Absolutely.
yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, so,
Like if we think something's cool, like what I think is cool now is totally different than what I thought was cool back in the day.
absolutely. I was talking about an old friend of mine, Phil. You remember? I think I told you about Phil when I was young.
I know, Phil. Yeah.
I caught him with him. And it was crazy because I looked at some of the stuff we was doing 10, 20 years ago. And I was like, wow. Me and both of them looked at each other like, bruh, like the evolution of where we're at now. The things that we thought was cool back in the day and just kind of went along, the things that were problematic, that just where we're at now, you know, if I can put other people onto games so that they can have that younger life and also be proud of the evolution of where I'm at now, I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, we just gotta change our expectancy with ourselves and each other when we're talking and walking, because we have so much potential inside each other. You know, for love, for triumph, for freedom, and I think it's our duty to pull that out of each other. Not fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's brilliant. It's our responsibility to pull that out of each other. That's a whole quote right there. Wow. Yo, you know how we used to be on you know how we would be on the phone and like every other few sentences was like, ah!
Yeah, you write that down. Well,
We
I mean,
were
the first
I love how we're so
time,
supportive of each other. Like you've always been so supportive of me from day one. I really can't brag on you enough. Like just how intelligent you are, how hardworking you are, how supportive you are of your friends. Like, if if somebody's bothering me, like I won't even tell you because I know you might kill them for me. Like I'm not even going to listen. Nope, I don't want no problems. And you taught me that too. That was something you also taught me is like going from that to the other perspective is something you taught me a long time ago, and I'll never forget this, is like, hey, if you love the men around you, also don't put them in situations just because like you feel like you can handle yourself, because
right.
the men around you are going to want to protect you. So don't be talking all crazy to other people just because you feel like you can defend yourself, because it's not about that, because the men around you will defend you if they're real. But also like be woman enough to not put men like that and the men you love in positions like that. And I was super young, but like, I was young and I was just like, I can take care of myself. Like, I can do it. I'm grown. I'm a woman. And you were like, yeah, but I'm here beside you. And so like, let's watch it. And it's not, you didn't say it out of fear. You said it out of like sincerity of like, Athena, I just want you to think about this. And it changed my life. It changed my life.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I will never forget that moment. I will never forget us walking down the street. I remember where we were in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, on the J line. I remember. I will never forget that conversation. And that was like, what, 15 years ago?
That's fire.
Wasn't that like 15 years ago? Like 12 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, longer. I don't even. Yeah, yeah.
So long ago. Yeah. So
Longer.
I want to ask you about, did you have anything to say about that? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was. It's like, I think that's really, really, that's dope with that um, went with you as well because it is important with the people we love. Like my homeboy, he was in some static recently on the block, and I was like, just hit my line if you need me. He's like, I love you, so I'm not gonna put you in that position. I was like, whew. He's like, I know how you get down. You know what I mean? And so it's like that is super important too. Is like where what because I've had people throw me under the bus. You know that when
Mm-mm.
I got jumped and almost died. Because they know how I got down. You know what I'm saying? So they say, yo, 83, I need your help. And I fought 7 dudes and they ran away. And I almost lost my life. They
Yeah.
didn't. And that's why we did our album cover. And I called you to do it because you are
Yeah.
my friend. So I know you protect me. And I know you care about me. You know I would die for you. I killed you. I'm not dying. Nah. So that's a different energy. That's a different exchange. And that's real. That's real. Because a lot of people, I think they glorify being in fights or street life and all. Nah, man, that shit ain't funny. It's not
It's
funny no
not
more.
cool at all.
Yeah. So it's like I don't play with minds. I pray for peace and prepare for war. So
Why are you dropping gems like that? Why are you coming on my show dropping gems like that?
you know how we do that. You know what it is.
Look, it's just so natural for you. You just like shooting them out. Jeez.
Oh my God, this is my ammo. I'm gonna use it.
Period. Okay. Look, honestly, I really am trying to have the best interview, but like I kind of want to like go into our memories, but I'm not gonna do that. But I do want I do want to bring up one thing before I talk about your atomic. Because I just want to talk about what was your inspiration behind that. I also want to talk about your inspiration behind Fight Back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I just want to go into this memory because this is one example, y'all, of how hard this person works. Like sometimes there are literally not awards for the people that deserve it. Like it's crazy. So, you did this whole huge thing, this whole huge video and this rooftop party and this how many people was on the rooftop? It was 4 rooftops put together in New York, and it was a 4 rooftop party, and you had like a bouncy house, and you like let's talk about that because the thing is you directed that, you ran that, you created that whole thing. That was a whole huge project. People still like, if they know me from then, they still are like, yo, that was crazy. I've never been to something like that before. That was 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. You're like, I always say you're so ahead of your time. Like, didn't I used to tell you that back in the day, just me and you?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're so, like even your music to this day is still so ahead of its time. Like I know that you're gonna get your appreciation and your flowers now, but I just feel like your music is one of those musics that, like you're one of those artists that, like, your music is gonna live so far past you. And I feel like it's just gonna get greater and greater and greater and greater and greater over time because you're just always ahead of the game. Like you're literally always creating something that literally has not been heard before.
Yeah.
Like literally not been heard before. That's wild, right? Like to really think about that your music has not ever been heard before. Like what is that? Like
That actually
how
is
does that feel? Like
that actually is the reason. When you step into a room or you're walking, you have a chance to give the world something that's never heard or seen. That's what gets me excited.
mm,
That's the whole point. I'm gonna give you something you haven't. You've heard the same thing over and over and over. Okay, cool, great. There's a million of those. But what have you never heard? What has never quenched your spirit? What has never made you feel this way? I'm here. I'm here.
yo, y'all gotta hear Fight Back. I mean, y'all gotta hear, like, y'all got to hear that album. That's probably one of my favorite albums because it's just so different. Every single song is so advanced. Like, it's just, I don't know. I can't even explain it. It's kind of crazy. Like, people have to hear it for themselves. But you made it, so you know what I'm saying. But it's just like it's hard to put in words of like how different and like forward moving it is, you know?
Mm, yeah, nah, definitely. I received that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I've told you that privately, but I just have to say it out loud because it's real, and I gotta go a little deeper with it. But
You want
what
me to fight back specifically,
do I, do I
or
want what?
should I talk about it? The
Yeah, we're
album?
gonna talk about it, but I did interrupt you, and I do really want to know, like, what inspired you to create such a huge party, and like, what I think
Um,
it. I really want to know where that came from, and like talk about how huge that was, because I mean, literally, people still talk about that to this day, and it's been 10 years.
yeah, yeah.
Like as one of their biggest firest parties they've ever been to. I mean, I think it's definitely one of my best parties that I've ever been to by far, for
I
sure.
remember on top, because we had a roof and then the platform on top of the roof. I remember you and baby Corey and Tasha and Sky and all y'all was up there like, hey, 'cause that's the whole
All the
team.
girls. Ooh.
It's all my girls, man. I remember looking around, but then like there was so many like extended family everywhere and so much love everywhere. But then to see like my ribs up there like having a good time, that was one of my favorite
And our
favorite memories.
shorty princess and
Of course, yeah, Princess and Christy and
Christy,
Patrick. I mean, Jackson's my right
the
hand.
girls, the girls,
Yeah,
the crew, the crew.
I've always been surrounded very strong, independent women who don't play and
Yeah,
like energy finds each other. You know,
yeah.
and for me, it's always been like I've never seen a thing where just to talk on that point, it's interesting because I've never seen a thing where it's like men versus women, like when you sexualize a person. I'm like, who's best for the job? What's your energy? Move into the crib. Like, here's your room. I'm not in that space. And I think that's what actually allowed, ever since I was little, I used to tell this story. I would be with my homegirls when they were doing double dutch, right? And they would be chilling. I'd pop in and talking to them. And then my homeboys would be like, yo, let's go play football. I'd be like, all right, I got to go. And that's because I believe in my mother and Nikki and my father. And so strong people, actually people, not flesh, not somebody that you on, not somebody trying to take advantage of, but people. And that's what created the energy in Cobra is the energy didn't lie. That's why everybody's rooms are open and everything like that. And everyone did feel so safe. And all the girls could be, hey, and the fellas that were there. People outside looking in, they would see me walking y'all sometimes to me to the side, be like, oh, you a pimp, you this and that. I'm like, yo, that's my sister, dog.
Yeah.
Wrap around, they couldn't wrap their head around it because they saw y'all as opportunity. They were in a place in their own filter where they were sexualizing the situation. And what it did is when you do that, you take away the opportunity to know the human.
Mm.
I'm saying? And so those were the best things about those parties was you had dope boys and you had girls from the Midwest that were, art people who just moved there passing a blunt. Everybody was there because it was people. And people felt safe and felt good and the energy.
And then you had like executives there, and like A&Rs, and like it was all over the place. People from all over the people from
Magazines, label people, artists, it was just people. And that's the thing is I don't care what your position is. I care
all
people.
mixed in one. They were blown.
Yeah, I care what position you play in life. How do you treat each other? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
rise, come on, homie, you good. But that party came from evolution, right?
yeah.
So evolution of the first party that we jacked the J train.
Oh my God, we don't even have time for that right now. I have to bring you on to the second season because like there's just so much we have to go in on. So last thing, I want to talk about Fight Back. Just give me a little brief synopsis on where that came from, and then we're gonna talk about. Just give me another brief synopsis on the Atomic, and then drop your handles, and then we're gonna go to see your visualizer.
Okay, yeah. All right, boom. So fight back was specifically for my people, specifically intentionally for Black people, as sonic ammunition for our hearts and minds. Music is spells. Ammunition is power. There's a lot of power when you were anointed to be a musician, from the Most High. And so I chose to be intentional to be able to have music that we could play back and back and feed our minds with. You know, you are beautiful, black gold. You know, my skin, my hair. you know, Nigerian. My mom was half Nigerian. So like those things are super important for us to speak into existence and be able to play on repeat. And I wanted to be able to do it in a place where they could play it in the club, where you can be bumping that in the car, where you can have it in all the environments that we do party and we do play at. And that's super important to have that toolkit to feed your mind, to feed yourselves, and be able to fight back. Because, if someone tells you something enough times, you believe it. You tell yourself enough times, you believe it. And that is intentional for our people. And that's just the way I get down musically. So as far as production and it being forward thinking. I'm grateful for however, it's consumed by other people. But that was my touch on a lot of classic records so that we can have it as ammunition.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, like, it's just incredible to uplift, period.
Yeah. And also with it, if you click on Fight Club Back, Fight Back, every song has a visual of black people in revolution winning. And that's important because what we're inundated with in media is us being lynched. It's us at the speed of black people, us being sprayed with water, us, and being dominated.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case.
Right.
So I went to so many examples, like the sister that was in West Africa that went down into South America, and she freed all the enslaved people through the drums. And she went in and she got her partner and got her out of the house where she was being tortured and cut off the slave master daughter's head and freed everybody. Like, yes, this is real. We need to tell our story. Our people were fighting back every day in slavery. It wasn't just Nat Turner. Shout out to Nat.
Yeah.
But there was revolution and there was uprisings and plantations all over this thing.
Yeah, untold stories. Untold
right.
stories.
You see yourself when you know you can win.
Yeah.
So you go to Fight Club back there's young brothers and sisters in Lakeland, Florida going against the KKK. Like, what's up? We ain't scared of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know my great grandpa fought back against these crackers who tried to kill my uncle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Split his throat. He went to Parchment Farm because he tried to kill my uncle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but they didn't play with my great grandpa because of, you know what I'm saying? So me knowing that's in my bloodline.
Yeah.
Got it.
Keeps you strong.
Got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's incredible. You got to have that strength, You got to have that strength so that everybody can learn and we can all grow together, period. Right? Period. Just learn and respect for each other. That's it. Culturally and everything. All right. So, we're going to go into Atomic. Just drop your handles real quick for me so people know where to find you and your website, and everything will be below so they, it can't be missed.
Yeah, so I'm the 83rd. That's THE83RD. You can find Atomic anywhere where you find 83rd. I'm on Instagram, 83rd, Facebook, 83rd, Twitter. 83rd.
And the website, the83rd.com.
And Atomic is out on Spotify. You just put the 83rd. Atomic is out streaming services everywhere where you buy music, Apple Music, iTunes. And you can also, if you go on the label, I run Sermon 3 Recordings. That's the name of the media company, the record label, the management company. That started 6 years ago for us, for our people, that be able to control our voice. So I put it out via Sermon 3 Recordings, and have a good time. It's called Atomic because it's me coming back off the bottom of the road. Yeah, and it's heavy. It's heavy. And it's unrelenting in its pace and its sounds. I'm a big part of club culture in New York, and so it's for club kids and people who get down like that. It has a Philly club sound too, mixed with a Jersey club, so it's very black club music. And it's unapologetic. It just goes right into it.
I love it. And okay, so just one last thing before I drop my handles and we head out. I do want to say, because I know you're so encouraging to Black people, but it's so awesome too because you have an amazing openness for everybody. It's so crazy. Like you literally deal with every kind of person. It's hard to explain. I think that like I don't even have time to explain it. I really don't. Like, I really don't have time to explain it. But like the group of people is kind of like the group of people that are not always included. You make space and room for those, and that it doesn't matter what color, what gender, if they're trans, anything. And I just love that about you because you allow space for people to be themselves, and that's incredible.
That's the point, right? And so that's why 7373 is that marginalized people, women, people who are queer, trans, white, black, and alike, Asian, working class people have been not only marginalized but used their creativity and their production that has been used to feed the rich. That's what slavery is. And so, real quick kind of history lessons. There was the planters in America, white and black, who were basically debt workers. And look up Bacon's Rebellion. It was blacks from Africa and whites who were both in servitude. And they were getting busy and they were revolting. And the rich didn't know what to do because white and blacks would come together and they'd come against the upper class. And so what they did is they separated us and they gave whites more tax breaks, a little more leniency, a little more access to equity, so that even though they were being enslaved in their own right in servitude, they had more than the blacks. Mm-hmm. And what did is that separated us and created the race division. Mm-hmm. And that has always been how consumer capitalists and people who want to just keep their power have kept their power through division. And so once we realize that they're trying to play all of this, okay, working class people, they're trying to play all of this. Once we realize that and keep us separated, black people, that's why they have different gangs and I got
the distractions, all the distractions. It's all distractions.
Yeah.
It's real simple. It's all come on. Yeah. Right? It's one of the best one of the best tactics in war. Put them against each other so they don't have to fight us and we're clear. Yeah.
So my thing is to tell all of y'all, all of us, be you. I love you, be y'all. You know what I'm saying? And don't everybody tell you ain't beautiful. And don't everybody tell you ain't fearfully and wonderfully made. You know what I'm saying? And respect each other, love each other. You feel me? Now let's go get the bag.
Yeah, and let's build each other up. Yeah.
You're worthy of it. You're worthy of peace. You're worthy of bread. You're worthy of all of it. And so sometimes we've been kicked down so long we think we're supposed to live down.
Preach. So, yeah, I love that.
Brilliance can be seen as important.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's like the best ever. And honestly, this is probably going to be the longest interview I have. And that's fine because this is such important stuff. Like it really is. It's just so important. So, I know my interviews are 30 minutes, y'all, but this one might be a little bit longer. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Okay. Because this stuff needs to be said. So here's my handles, you guys. Make sure you please check out morningmotivation.ae for Instagram, and also check out the website so you can see all the other awesome interviews that I have. And that is Morning Motivation with AthinaElaiya.com. Y'all, check out this amazing person right here, and let's go see the visualizer. The look of the week is provided by Jessica's Body Boutique. Lipstick and lip gloss provided by High Maintenance.